authentic life is not a flawless life. First, what do you mean by authentic? Everybody talks about authenticity. Okay? Well, the shortest, simplest definition, authentic is true. This is who you really are. It is something you're not. For most people who keep on saying, live an authentic life, be you. Okay? They say, well, if you are being, if you're being authentic, then you're being flawless. Really? Let's find that out. Okay? Welcome, my fascinating Renaissance friends, to my season one, 60 years and beyond. And this is Malu Cervantes, navigating with you the autumn of life. Autumn of our life, and this is episode 177. We've gone a long way, baby. All right. So, so in this month of March, still month of March, we continue to reflect on the great existential questions that all humanity has posed and has asked, across the centuries. In the past episodes, we reflected on some of them, starting with what's the meaning of life, why do I exist, followed by, well, why do I suffer? What's the purpose of suffering? And then we talked about why do I suffer? Then who am I really? Who am I really? Then we talked about what's love. So many things. We continue to do that. We continue to reflect on that. Existential questions are really inquiries about meaning, purpose, and the nature of human existence. When we become aware of what are we doing here, okay, why am I experiencing this, and we want to find out because it's affecting life, right? That's existential questions. We will ponder on these existential questions in this series for March, but we are not going to do it as philosophers living in an ivory tower separated from reality. We will not do that. We will do it, as women who have lived, loved, lost, suffered, endured, triumphed, and grown wiser because of the effects of these existential questions. And we will not also look at these questions as problems to be solved. For all you know, it cannot be. Or questions which need categorical, neat answers, definite answers. No, we won't do that. Okay? So, may I suggest, as I've always started with this series, that you pour up yourself, a cup of tea, and we settle, and then we reflect. Okay, so what does it mean to be authentic? Really, what does it mean? We will now look at some of the possibilities from the lens of people, all right, that I have selected, and from there we'll see how it can affect us. What can we learn from them? The first one is you've met him before, Soren Kierkegaard. All right, in the past episodes. This time, he's talking about something that really resonated with me. He said this: living the life which is not your own, a life that was dictated to you, or a life lived by another person, not your own, is the greatest, the deepest source of despair. So, deepest form of despair. So, living inauthentic lives, meaning living a life that is not our own, but something we are expected to live, especially by our parents and authority figures. That is the deepest form of despair. Okay, so I guess from there you could see that for him, a life of authenticity authentic means real, genuine, true, is living life according to your own terms, not on anyone else's. Okay? So that's Soren Kierkegaard. Before we go on to the next, because the next are two new people I'm introducing to you. But before that, Soren Kierkegaard. It is he is actually very influential in some of the thoughts that I have developed for myself. Okay, I told you about me me being a complex person, really. And I have very few friends because very few people can accept the dichotomy, you know, that I think very deeply when they only wanted fun, and things like that. Well, you know, um, I was asked by an acquaintance. You also know that I have very few people I consider friends. They are less than my 10 fingers. Okay, and these friends, especially the three of less than 10, know me. Okay, and they're the ones who would tell people, no, 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 I know Malu. It's really like this. You should understand her, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I never, ever defend myself. I will allow my work and allow my life to be my testimony. I never argue and defend. No. I have reached a point that I no longer live based on approval and validation and permission for others. No, no. The autumn of my life, I have already gained my stars and stripes. And so this friend asked me, Malu, you remember this person, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm trying very hard, to really please her, but she keeps on saying, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, because if I do this, it is not something that that something that she thinks it's right, So I said, bottom line, what does she want? Well, she wants me to actually change, okay, for her sake, so we can be what? We can live harmonious life, all right? Really? So then pose to me a question. Malu, if you were me, right, would you change so that she will feel more comfortable and like you and be with you and things like that? It took me 10 seconds, really. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds. Silence. And she was already fidgety. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Malu. Did I ask the wrong question? But I was just thinking. So I said, okay, this is my answer. 3 points and a bottom line. And she smiled and said, that's how you answer. Yeah. She knows this is how I answer. Ask me a question, this is what I will answer. 3 points and a bottom line. Okay, first point. I will never, ever diminish myself so that someone or some people will like me or be comfortable with me and accept me. Second point, point number 2. Okay, even if hypothetically I will change for their sake, they will not magically like me. You know why? Because the issue is not with me. The issue is with them. They're uncomfortable with me. This is who I am. Third point. Life is too short, my dear, for me to even bother to be included or engaged in the drama of someone else. Bottom line, I said, okay, I will live my life according to my own terms and not on anybody else's. Period. She just looked at me and stared and said, wow, that's a lot. Yeah. But she said, yeah, that's very you. Basically, that's what's being said here, right? Right. I don't want to live a life of despair. Okay. Now, the second lens is from Martin Heidegger. He's German, okay? He's the father of phenomenology from the word phenomenon. It's a study, it's a conscious study of human experiences, termed as phenomenon. The conscious study of the human experience, okay, suffering, all of that. He's the one, he's Heidegger, okay, from where existentialism came in. So he said, authenticity emerges when we face our mortality. Meaning, if we know that we are finite beings, we will die someday. Just the realization forces us to live our true life. Agree. Followed by Carl Rogers. Now, Carl Rogers is American. He's a psychologist. He spoke of congruence. The word congruence means alignment. Okay, two things align. Okay, congruence. It says when our inner experience aligns with our outer life, it's the same. Okay, inner experience aligned with the outer self, meaning how others know us, what we project is the same thing as when we are alone. So there's only one whole. Okay? So I guess when we reach the autumn of our life, we begin to shift. Okay? It shift the meaning of authenticity. We stopped performing for others. Perform like, oh, I'm expected to do like this, so I'm like this, performing. And we start listening to ourselves. What do we really want? Who we really are. Okay? So I ask you, please look, where in your life you are still continually performing and not trying, to know what you really want out of life. Really. If this resonates with you, this reflection session resonates with you, then don't just rush out. Okay, stay with the question so that wisdom, will come in gently because it does not barge in loudly. And so you begin to know more about yourself. And if this is valuable for you, like and subscribe and share this with those friends who are also struggling with the same existential question. Okay, so until then, this is Miss Manu Cervantes, your fellow sojourner in the autumn of our life, saying, please continue living wisely, living gently, and living fully. Until then, goodbye.